Tommy Adewale still couldn't believe what she was hearing. For 10 long years, she had carried the same pain and emptiness that echoed louder with every passing month. For 10 years, her body had remained silent. No cry of a baby in her flat in South London. No sign of her monthly cycle to assure her that her body still worked as it should. Doctors said she was fine. Scans, blood tests, fertility clinics, everything came back normal. Pastors prayed, friends encouraged her, but nothing changed. Now, at 38, she was running out of hope. Her friends from university already had children starting secondary school. Her family back in Lagos called every month with the same question hidden beneath kind words, "Any news yet?" But there was never news. At night, Tommy would kneel by her bedside in their small flat in Lewisham, whispering prayers into her palms. "God, why me?" she would ask. "Why does it feel like something is missing that no one can see?" Her husband, Damilola, once her rock, had started to change too. He was kind, but quieter. His smiles came slower. The silence between them stretched like an invisible wall. It was on a cold Sunday afternoon that something shifted, not in the sky, but in Tommy's heart. She had almost skipped church that day. But a visiting counselor from a women's wellness ministry was giving a talk about the body, the mind, and the burdens we carry. Tommy sat in the back, arms folded, not expecting much. But as the speaker began to talk about how emotional trauma can sometimes lock the body in tension, something deep inside her stirred. "Sometimes," the counselor said softly, "pain doesn't come from the body. It comes from the memories our body holds onto, moments we never faced, words that broke us quietly." Tommy's hands trembled. Her mind went back, not to her marriage, but to the morning of her wedding, the day she thought was the happiest of her life. The morning that changed everything. The wedding had been beautiful. The sky over Croydon was bright and calm, the small church on Streatham High Road filled with music and laughter. Tommy had woken up early, nerves and excitement buzzing through her chest. Her makeup artist, Shade Glam Studio, was the most sought after in London's Nigerian circles. Everyone said, "If Shade does your face, you'll look like royalty." Shade herself arrived dressed sharply, her makeup flawless, her tone confident. She smiled as she unpacked her brushes and powders. "Don't worry, my dear," Shade said warmly. "You'll be the most beautiful bride in London today." Everyone in the room laughed. Tommy smiled shyly. She had never done heavy makeup before. But she trusted the expert. Shade worked quickly, foundation, contour, shimmer. Tommy's reflection in the mirror transformed with every brush stroke. She looked radiant. But somewhere between the laughter and the compliments, something happened. As Shade leaned close to line her lips, she whispered something almost under her breath. "Perfect. No one will ever outshine you again." The tone was soft, but strange. Tommy thought she misheard. Then Shade pressed her hand against Tommy's shoulder, firm, almost possessive, and said with a smile, "Now stay still. Don't ruin my work. You're mine until the ceremony is over." Everyone laughed again, assuming it was a joke. Tommy laughed too. But her chest tightened. She didn't know why, but something about that touch made her uncomfortable. Still, she brushed it off. It was her wedding day. By afternoon, Tommy looked like a queen. Cameras flashed, friends screamed with excitement. She walked down the aisle glowing. Damilola's eyes filled with tears when he saw her. It was perfect. Or at least, it looked that way. The silent years. The first year of marriage was sweet and hopeful. They were living in a small rented flat, building dreams together. Tommy expected pregnancy to come naturally. But months turned into years. Still nothing. By the third year, her monthly cycle stopped altogether. Doctors ran tests. "Everything looks normal," they said. "It might be stress." Stress. The word haunted her. Tommy started blaming herself. Maybe she worked too hard. Maybe she thought too much. Maybe she wasn't enough. Family members made things worse. Maybe you should pray more, her aunt suggested. Maybe try another doctor, her mother said. Maybe Damilola should remarry, whispered someone else. Every word cut her open. By year 6, Tommy had stopped attending baby showers. She deleted her Instagram. Each time she saw maternity photos, something inside her cracked. At home, Damilola tried to be supportive. "You are more than children to me," he said once, his voice trembling. But she saw the longing in his eyes. Their marriage became quiet. Even laughter felt forced. Strange things started happening, not supernatural, but unsettling. Tommy noticed that she could hardly look at her face in the mirror without anxiety. She would put on light plus makeup for work, but every time she picked up her brush, her chest tightened. She stopped using foundation altogether. She said it was because she preferred natural beauty, but deep down, she knew she didn't trust what she saw in the mirror anymore. Her mind would flash back to that wedding morning, to Shade's whisper, to the way she said, "You're mine until it's over." That sentence echoed through her mind for years. One evening, Damilola found her sitting on the bathroom floor, staring at an old photo, her wedding picture. Her eyes in that picture looked radiant and frightened. "Tommy," he said gently, "maybe you should talk to someone." At first, she refused. In her mind, therapy was for people who had lost their minds, not for someone like her. But after another sleepless night, she gave in. Her therapist, Dr. Eniola Martins, was a calm woman with kind eyes and a soft Yoruba accent. Her office smelled of lavender and quiet understanding. For the first few sessions, Tommy barely spoke. But slowly, memories began to surface, the pressure to be perfect, the jokes about makeup, the fear of not being enough. "It sounds like," Dr. Eniola said one day, "you associated your wedding, your happiest day, with a moment where your body felt violated, even slightly. That tension can live inside us for years, especially when our identity as women is tied to our appearance." Tommy frowned. "You mean, my body remembers it?" "Yes," the therapist said gently. "Sometimes our bodies store fear, shame, and anxiety. When we don't process it, it can affect how we function, even biologically. The stress response can block your hormones, your cycles, even your sense of self." Tommy sat still, tears slowly falling. It made sense. It wasn't witchcraft. It was trauma, subtle, deep, buried under 10 years of silence. Breaking the cycle. For months, Tommy attended therapy, journaling her pain, unpacking the lies she had carried. "You're not enough. You're broken. You'll never be happy." She learned to speak kindness to herself. Damilola joined some sessions. Together, they rebuilt communication, intimacy, and forgiveness. One evening, after a long talk, they cried together, not from sadness, but relief. A few weeks later, something unexpected happened. Tommy's period returned. It wasn't a miracle from above, it was her body finally relaxing, trusting, breathing again. Months passed. Tommy smiled more. Her health improved. She joined a support group for women facing infertility in London. Then, one morning, as she got ready for work, she felt nauseous. She thought it was the flu. But something nudged her to check. When the test showed positive, she fell to her knees, sobbing. Damilola ran into the room. When she showed him the test, he lifted her in his arms, laughing and crying at the same time. After 10 years of waiting, healing, and rebuilding, life had found its way back. Epilogue. A year later, Tommy gave birth to a healthy baby girl, Zara. During her dedication at church, Tommy stood before the congregation, her voice steady and bright. For years, she said, I thought my body was cursed. But I learned something. Sometimes it's not a curse, it's the body's way of asking for healing. My story isn't about barrenness. It's about how pain can silence us until we face it. The crowd clapped softly. Some wept. After the service, another woman approached her quietly. Sister Tommy, she whispered, I think I've been carrying my own weight too. Tommy smiled gently. Then start talking, she said. That's where healing begins. Lesson. Not every pain is physical. Sometimes the people we let close to us, even those who make us beautiful, leave invisible marks on our confidence, our peace, and our identity.